Some Labour MPs are demanding that Britain pays reparations for the transatlantic slave trade in the Caribbean. They are claiming that 400 years of horrific abuse means that this country should be paying for our crimes in the form of the British taxpayers' money. Now, yet again, because this kind of thing does seem to crop up every now and then, it does tend to come from Labour MPs or Labour people. We are now hearing how Britain once again must get down on its knees and pay for the crimes of its past. It does astonish me because it does make me wonder just how much these Labour MPs really know about the history of the slave trade and the history of the British Empire, and the fact that we are talking about a time when empires were very normal. If you were not an empire, you would have become a colony. I wonder if they would have preferred Britain to have become a colony. Perhaps they would have preferred us all to have been slaves ourselves, and which would undoubtedly have had repercussions for us today, you know? Perhaps they would have preferred that, but I think a lot of us wouldn't. Either way, it was the British Empire that decided to end slavery. No other empire decided to take steps to try and end it on a global scale. That was exclusive to the British Empire. It was the British Empire who decided to use its wealth, time and resources, and even lost lives, in order to end slavery. Now, I didn't see any of this in the article that this was published in. I saw absolutely nothing about Britain's role and the sacrifices it made in order to end slavery, and the steps it had to take when it had to go against other empires and other states in order to end slavery. Not a word about it. Neither a word about how the British Empire did its absolute best to spread civilization, democracy, infrastructure, economic growth, medical knowledge, and a host of other things that is beneficial to civilization that we see today. The British Empire wasn't perfect. No one is ever going to claim that. But no one and nothing is ever perfect. And in an age when empires were normal, the British Empire did the best job it could have done. And compared to all the others, it was by far the best empire. Because it used its power, it used its resources. When it was strong enough, it did what it could to make the world a better place. This is the truth. And yet all we ever hear is everyone bashing the empire, people bashing British history, demanding reparations, like Clive Lewis, who has said, this should not be dismissed as the obsession of a small group of so-called woke extremists. Well, I think it should be, because this is extreme. It's not just extreme, it is ridiculous. It is completely absent of common sense, and it is absent of actual historical knowledge. The British Empire was the only empire that actively took steps to end the transatlantic slave trade, and yet it is the one and only empire that is constantly under attack, where the people of today are expected to pay reparations for it. This is truly ridiculous. I mean, why is it that we never hear about any other nation or any other peoples demanding that empires of the past pay reparations for what happened? Take the Philippines, for example. They were under the control of the Spanish Empire for a long, long time, and the Spanish Empire was incredibly cruel. They turned them into their own personal slaves. But you don't see the Philippines demanding reparations. You don't see the Philippines demanding that Spain forks out loads and loads of taxpayers' money in order to atone for sins of the past. It's just us. And yet it was us who did the best we could in order to make the world better, free slaves, spread civilization, spread democracy. I find it absolutely astonishing. None of this was mentioned in this article, nor was it mentioned how there were other slaves who suffered. What about the British slaves who were kidnapped by Barbary slave pirates, sent off to North Africa, sold to Morocco, who never made it out alive, never made it home? There was no empire to save them. There was nobody to free them. What about them? Why aren't we demanding reparations for them? Nope. Instead, we have Labour MPs calling for reparations and demanding that we apologise with our words, with our money, for what happened in the past. He goes so far as to say that if we don't do this, then the future of the Commonwealth may be at risk. So add a little threat in there as well, why don't you? But it really does make me wonder how much these MPs really know about our history. It makes me wonder if they are truly ignorant about British history, or if they know and they simply don't care, and they think that all of us are just as ignorant as they are, and that we don't care either about what is right and what is wrong, because it certainly isn't right to expect the people of today to pay reparations for what happened in the past, particularly when some of the truth is being hidden, clearly being hidden, because they're not revealing the good that the British Empire did. They're also not revealing the fact that the British taxpayer also paid, up until recently, for the freedom of all the slaves in the British Empire's territories. Again, this wasn't mentioned. So I think it should be dismissed as extremism, because that is what it is. It is utterly ridiculous. It is totally unfair. And if we're going to go down the route of reparations, then I would be very careful with something like that, because everybody has a past, everybody has committed a crime, and everyone in some way has been a victim. So I think that these MPs should go and do their research. And if they have done it, perhaps they'd like to enlighten us as to why they've chosen to go down this route when they've decided not to reveal all the truth.